But we should turn our attention to the offense, where our conversation, I think, will continue to take an upward trajectory here. Might as well start with quarterback. C.J. Stroud takes the day off because he's trying to rest his right shoulder. I don't really know if we have a quarterback controversy. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. But I think Ryan Day probably walked out of that game feeling a heck of a lot better that he did get Kyle McCord and Jack Miller some valuable reps in a game they won by more than 50 points. Your true freshman quarterback makes his first ever appearance for a Buckeye. He in a Buckeye uniform. He's the fourth true freshman quarterback to ever start a game at Ohio State. And after half a quarter of probably adrenaline pumping a lot harder than you might have anticipated, I think he started 2 for 5 and had a couple of sloppy plays and obviously had the one backwards pass that went out of bounds. His final numbers, 13 of 18 for 319 yards and 2 touchdowns with a pick. 319 through the air, I think, is a little misleading. He threw a lot of shorter passes with several guys that just scurried on down. But I also thought his arm strength was noticeable last night. He put a couple of really good passes in tight windows right on guys. And when he settled into the game, he looked good. So, again, I don't know if this is a quarterback controversy as much as it is Ryan Day seemingly has said CJ's our guy. And when he's healthy, he's the guy. And he wasn't healthy enough or didn't need to be healthy enough to play this last week. So Kyle gets a chance, and I thought he performed well.
Yeah, it was interesting to see him develop as a quarterback last night. The first 3 throws were out of this horizon. I mean, he was throwing – I thought he was throwing the ball into the stadium. And that is not something that's crazy. C.J. Stroud struggled a little bit with his first couple throws. But, like you said, Brendan, he was 13 of 18, I believe. He had those 3 – the first 3 throws were awful. He had that terrible interception at the beginning of the second half. So that's 4 of those throws that you're alluding to, and really just has one other bad throw. It's important for him to have the ability to really just play in a college football game. He's never done that. That's a lot. And in that environment last night was a great opportunity for him. I consider it more of a quarterback blessing. Ryan Day can now go to bed at night and say, hey, guess what? I've got 3 guys that legitimately can play and that I know in a pinch situation, I can go to these guys. At the end of the day, C.J. Stroud is the guy. He's still the guy. He's been the guy. They would not have rested him last night if there was a quarterback issue. They rested him last night because Ryan Day knew he could go win this football game with his second and third string quarterback and go attack the Zip defense the way he did. They also could have leaned heavier on the run game, which they did at the beginning of the game. I think a lot of fans, I believe even Andrew alluded to it last night in your post game, that they could have just ran the ball every single play. They probably could have. I don't think that would have been. The Buckeye fans would have been a little disappointed in that from that standpoint. But Kyle McCord settled down. He executed a 2-minute situation at the end of the half, which I thought was outstanding to see. You don't get those live reps. It's so important. And as a coach, you stress situational football during training camp, during spring football, even during the week. And then to have that opportunity and have the mindset, we're going to take that timeout right there. We're going to force Akron to punt it. I think it was 34 seconds left in the half. And then have the ability to go make a big throw.
14 seconds.
Sorry, 14 seconds.
Yeah.
14 seconds to make that big throw, set up something there that gives you the ability to go kick a field goal, and really an operation that you wouldn't have gotten in practice to be able to do it on national TV. I think it's really important to be able to do that. Kyle McCord did a really nice job. Jack Miller, he came in. Ryan Day said he brought a lot of energy to the field. For those guys, he's a third-string quarterback. He's a third-string quarterback. The kid's got a really good life. He's a really handsome kid that walks around the Ohio State campus as a quarterback. I know I was watching the game last night, and look at his blue eyes. Yeah, he's a handsome kid. So he's got that going for him too. I think life's not going to be too bad for him. He'll eventually be able to find his way, onto the field in different capacities. But, the good Lord just blesses some people with certain gifts. And young Jack Miller has got a couple of those. So, to see that. I know earlier we were talking about, I think Quinn was one of the questions why he's not available right now.
Yeah.
And realistically, he should be a senior in high school right now. He's a kid who's sitting in Columbus right now, who's a millionaire because of an NIL deal. And there's a lot of
multi-millionaire.
Multi-millionaire. As an NIL deal, you're 18 years old. You're foregoing your senior year of high school to go do that. I don't know. Like, I look back at this when I was a senior at Benedictine High School. If I had multi-million-dollar, like if I had $2 million in the bank account when I was a senior at Benedictine High School, pretty confident my life would be a little bit different. The same way that this young man his life is vastly different. He's living in a great city in Columbus where he's basically a professional athlete. He's got a lot of things off the field that he's going to have to be able to fight and develop and understand before he has that opportunity. He didn't get to Ohio State, I don't think, till the end of July. As well, when he declared himself as a senior or declared himself, in the 21 class, he's going to have a long way to go. And Ohio State's going to develop him. They're going to do a tremendous job with him, and down the road, he could be something very special. But right now, that three-headed monster that they have at quarterback is a very comforting broom. And if everyone stays healthy, it'll be nice to have those backups for CJ.
I'm not sure if Kyle's going to start this next week or not. I'm sure Ryan Day is going to get a whole bunch of questions about that. He might not give us an answer till Thursday. But I think the good news here is that Kyle showed enough last night that the nerves of never having done it before are certainly going to be mostly quelled. I'm sure you always feel a bit of an adrenaline rush when you get in the game for the first time. It hasn't played a Big Ten game, but Ryan Day is going to say, hey, man, you did this last week or 2 weeks ago. Let's go back out and get after it again. I also don't know the level of, depth in that injury in CJ's shoulder, but I know he's been dealing with it for a while. Is it structural? Is it almost like a pitcher where you've got dead arm and you just need some time? I mean, it's all speculation. But the thing for me is if you're Kyle, you rely on the fact that you had a good performance, that once you settled in, you showed, hey, man, I belong here. I can play here. I can succeed here. You just be ready for whenever that next opportunity is, because it's going to come at some point, and you never know when it's going to come. And it might be next week, or maybe it's in a Big Ten championship game. Who knows? But I think Kyle has a really bright future. And, I hope that room stays healthy and excels, because if you don't have elite quarterback play, it's extremely difficult to make the college football playoff. That's just, fact.
Tremendously true, Brian. And realistically, if they got to keep Kyle McCord excited, there's a really, really simple film they can go to in the archives of Ohio State football, the Dwayne Haskins story.
Yeah.
Go look back. I mean, it's just the epitome of like the way that he ended up becoming, a quarterback for the Buckeyes. After he left Ohio State, it hasn't been the greatest of stories, but what he's done, what he did, and be able to come in and just be ready, constantly stay ready. And we talk about this, and it's coach talk. Stay ready. You never know when your opportunity is going to come, young man. You really have to do that. At a quarterback, especially at the quarterback position, there's only one guy that's going to play quarterback. I don't foresee Ryan Day going back to the John Cooper era and going, well, we got Joe Germain and Stanley Jackson. We're going to play both those guys. No, what they're going to do is they're going to play CJ Stroud until CJ Stroud has proven that he can't be the guy. And then Kyle McCord's an outstanding backup that they have and going forward, and a guy that the guys buy into, the guys that they like, and the ability to go forward. And there's a lot of success there. One of the things that I thought was really big before the game last night to show CJ Stroud who he is, he had his arm wrapped around Kyle McCord before the start of the game. And I don't know if you saw when they took a knee, down in the end zone together as a team. He had his arm wrapped, CJ had his arm wrapped around him, and what he was whispered in his ear, like, man, you are a dog. You're going to get this today. Go get after it. Go have fun. And that's what you love to see. You love to see guys who support one another. And that's indicative of having a great culture.